Good to have you this week and another edition of Readers for Growth. I am Busola Faiga Okpeolu, and on the program I have Favor Osea.
Yes, ma'am.
Iheke Ifeanyichukwu.
Yes, ma'am.
Ogwabana Marisa and Jessica Akitonde.
Yes, ma'am.
Our guest this week is a seasoned parenting coach. She's a lawyer. She's an administrative secretary and former DG NAPTIP, Dame Julie Oka Donnelly. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Ma, thank you for joining us on the program. Ma, please, when we talk about trafficking in person, what do we mean by that?
Trafficking in persons is the same thing as buying and selling human beings. You know, it's a terrible trade, you know, that has become very popular over the years. There are different kinds of trafficking. You know, we have the internal trafficking, the external trafficking. We have trafficking in organs, human organs. We have trafficking in little children. We have trafficking, you know, what we call domestic servitude, where you have little girls that are trafficked and kept in homes as slaves, you know, working for people, you know, for no salary, you know, girls that should even be in school and shouldn't even ordinarily be working. So it's like buying and selling, and it's so bad because it's now also referred to as modern day slavery, where you have people buying and selling human beings. Like they traffic them, that is, they take them, you know, forcefully from maybe one country into another country, and they sell them to someone else. So whatever they sell them for, the person can use the person as a human being, like a commodity. They can now, you become their property, and they can use you for whatever purpose they want to use you for. So that's trafficking in persons.
Thank you, Ma.
You're welcome.
Ma, could you throw some light on what parents could do to prevent their children from being trafficked?
Parents should always advise their children to speak out, you know, when they are approached by people. Because what happens is that sometimes, you know, these traffickers, you know, most of the time actually, they deceive, you know, unsuspecting victims. They tell them beautiful stories of how you can get a job abroad, how you can play soccer abroad. You know, they prey on you. They find out what you like to do, and they take it to use it to their advantage. For example, if you play football very well, they'll tell you, oh, do you know that if you go to Russia, for example, you can play football, you get into a good club, you make it, you'll be big and all of that. So parents need to teach their children not to get carried away by all these fake offers or promises. They must teach their children to speak out. If you see something or someone approaches you, talk to them about it. Some children are very secretive. In fact, most of the time they tell you, don't tell your parents, don't tell anyone. And so with that, before you know it, the children are trafficked. So parents must always teach their children to speak out, tell them whatever they hear, whatever they see, whenever people approach them for whatever it is, and teach them what human trafficking means so that they are aware. They need to sensitize their children on what human trafficking is at all times.
Okay, Ma'am.
Ma'am, what were the challenges you faced as the NAPTIP Director General?
Wow. Challenges were numerous, but nothing that I could not deal with. Most of the time you have challenges of lack of enough funding to do so much. We also had the challenges in terms of technology to make sure that we're able to go after the traffickers through technology, arrest them and prosecute them. We had challenges of the bad guys, you know, trying to sometimes, you know, threatening your life, you know, and, you know, there are just numerous challenges We had challenges of the destination countries, you know, not really cooperating with the origin countries in terms of sharing of information, you know, to ensure that we're able to break the cartel, you know, the human trafficking cartel operating between Nigeria and other countries. So the challenges were enormous. Of course, we usually have challenges of interagency rivalry. You know, some agencies want to do your job for you, some agencies, you know, sabotage you, you know, so, you know, and things like that. And these are common challenges that occur all over the world. So there were numerous challenges, but nothing that I couldn't handle by the grace of God.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you.
Okay, Ma. How can you access the rate of trafficking in person today? Is it increasing or reducing?
Well, I think that question would be better for the current Director General to answer. But at the time I was there, I could tell you that it was decreasing because a lot of awareness campaign had been, you know, going all over the place. We went to schools, we went to churches, we went to mosques, we went everywhere, you know, just creating awareness on human trafficking. So people became more aware. A lot of reports were coming in. People were calling to report cases of trafficking, unlike before. A lot of people didn't know what trafficking was. They didn't know the signs of trafficking. They didn't know what to do when people are trafficked. So yes, I would say the rate had gone down. And I believe that the rate has even further dropped and will continue to drop.
Ma, when you were talking, you spoke about you had challenges of bad guys threatening your life. How cooperative were the securities officials working with you?
Oh, they were very cooperative. They were very cooperative, and they gave me adequate protection, at least while I was there.
Okay, ma, thank you.
Ma'am, trafficking in person also means violence. What's your opposition on corporal punishment?
Trafficking in persons is an extreme form of violence because unfortunately most of the victims are subjected to sexual violence. They are subjected to battering, beating. It's a very violent crime. Sometimes they even die. You know, well, corporal punishment, I don't know. The law is the law. The law talks about 25 years to life imprisonment for offenders. Talks about 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, depending on the severity of the crime. The law is there already, and I think that we should just at least try to ensure that the law is implemented. That's the most important thing. You know, if the law is implemented, at least the offenders will not get away free.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, how does the government locate victims of trafficking, victims?
You know, human trafficking occurs in a kind of, you know, what we call a clandestine form, like a secret kind, in secret more or less. So most of the time it is through reports. We get reports, we get tip-offs, and of course sometimes at the borders. Those at the borders are able to, to realize that these guys are about to be trafficked and they are apprehended. You know, so most of the time, you know, we get reports, and that's why we keep saying, if you see something, say something. Don't keep quiet about it. And of course, at the border points, again, they are able to identify victims and rescue them, and of course, arrest the perpetrators. So these are mainly the ways in which they are able to identify and arrest them, through reports and of course through apprehension sometimes. Well, children, I'm glad to know you guys have a reading culture, and I'd like to advise you to read more. Reading is education, is very educative. When you read, you get to know a lot about everything. You get to know about history, you get to know about culture, you get to know about religion. I'm sure if I ask some of you if you read your Bibles, I'm not sure you've really taken your Bible and read page to page, cover to cover. So, you know, it's important to read. You pick up your Bible. That's the closest thing you have to you, of course, apart from your school books. You know, a lot of children don't have this reading culture anymore, but there are lots of storybooks, and now technology has made it so easy. You can go on the internet to read any book you like, you know. So it's always good to read And I always encourage parents to ensure that their children read books. Always pick a book and read a book. 2 days, 3 days, give yourself a target. Read the book to understand. If you do not understand, you can ask your parents what a particular topic is trying to tell you or is trying to teach you. You can even pick up your dictionary to find out words. And you know, when you read, your vocabulary improves. So when you read, you find words that you're not very familiar with, and you can always find out the meaning of those words. So what happens? Your reading culture is enhanced, your vocabulary is enhanced, and you'll be able to do very well, not just in English language, but generally, because when you understand words, then it makes, you know, reading and even writing very easy for you.
Ma, I learned that apart from being a one-time Director General of National Agency for Prohibition of Persons Trafficking, you are also a lawyer and also a writer. What inspires you to write your book?
I love to express myself through writing. You know, right from when I was young, if I'm unhappy about something, or I'm happy about something, depending on the situation, I express it in writing. And so I found that I could express myself very well writing. And I think those were one of the things, you know, that inspired my writing, to express myself, to express situations around me, to express things that I see around me. I was not really inspired by any particular writer, to be honest with you. I was inspired by myself. Yeah, and that was what made me to, you know, start writing books.
Thank you, Ma.
With your busy schedule, how do you find time to relax?
Wow. I'm never too busy to relax. I enjoy playing golf, and I make sure that I give time to playing golf. I like to dance once in a while. I also find time to dance. I like to cook. I like to write. There's so many things I like to do, and you know, you must always find the time to do something. You know, you must always find time to do something, because time waits for no one. So I deliberately ensure that I give time to all of these little things that I enjoy doing from time to time, because all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Thank you, Ma.
Book that I think should interest you is called Parenting in the 21st Century. And this book actually was written more for the girl child, the protection of the girl child, how to protect the girl child from all forms of abuses. And I would like to read the second chapter, and it goes like this. As a result of the alarming abuse cases, it is very important to protect the girl child's privacy by installing secret security cameras in the house to monitor the activities while you are away. Technology has become so advanced that you can monitor from your office everything going on in your home. Therefore, investment in security cameras is very essential and compulsory, especially when you have infants and children at home. There was a reported case of a careless mother who left her children in care of a male steward, and he abused them for months unnoticed, enticing them with sweets and biscuits, until he was caught by a neighbor in the act. There are cases too numerous to mention, but the use of a camera will reduce incidences like this, as parents will be able to monitor their children. Although it is not advisable to leave the girl child with any male domestic staff, like the cook, security man, washerman, steward, and so on. An adult female must always be at home with the children. And when the mother is traveling, a trusted relation or friend should be contacted to check on the kids from time to time, in addition to the mature housemaid and the husband's supervision. And I went on to talk about guidelines towards protecting the girl child's privacy. Accepting gifts. Teach her to reject gift gifts politely from strangers, even when they are given by close relations, neighbors, and friends, and to promptly inform the parents of all such gifts Sweets and chocolates are the most common gifts used to entice little girls. The acceptance of any such gifts must be reported immediately to the parents, who in turn should thank the gift giver and politely advise that such gifts be given to the parents directly. No secrets. The girl child must be taught from the onset never to enter into a pact with anyone to keep a secret from her parents. The word "do not tell" should go off as a red flag and should not be acceptable. Always probe in a subtle and intelligent way to make her feel comfortable to talk to you about everything. Be her best friend and confidant. A popular Nollywood actress was a victim of sexual abuse, which was perpetrated against her at a very early age by a family friend. And the boy in question happened to be the son of her mother's friend. She refused to tell her mother about it because she was very strict and they were not close friends. She was already 7 months pregnant before her mother noticed. She had the baby and later went back to complete her education. As a guest speaker at a seminar to end violence against children, she shared her experience and called on parents to communicate regularly with their children and make them their best friends. Dressing. The child must be well dressed at all times to cover her underwear and private areas of the body, and must be taught to sit with her legs crossed at all times. She must be dressed according to her age and not over or underdressed. Where she has to wear a short dress or skirt, she must have on nice tights underneath in order not to expose her underwear. That way she learns to dress decently from childhood to adulthood. Separate rooms. As much as possible, separate the girls from the boys. In the event that there are insufficient rooms, the girls can stay in the mother's room under very close supervision. Inappropriate touch. Every child, not just the girl child, every child must be taught that there are some areas of their bodies which are very private and should not be touched by any other person. Examples for the girls are the breasts, the buttocks, and the genitals. Any infringement of those areas should be promptly reported to the parents. This also excludes the oral genital contact, and so on and so forth. Teach the girls not to sit on the laps of the opposite sex. Parents, please do not expose any part of your naked bodies to your children or allow them to see you in any uncomfortable position with your spouse. And children should not be allowed to watch adult movies without parental guardians or accompany parents to watch comedy shows where the use of inappropriate adult language is very common. School runs. On no condition must a girl child be taken to school by the driver or any male relative or staff unaccompanied by a female adult. Where the parents are unable to do so themselves, the girl child should always be seated at the back and well strapped. There was a reported case of a driver who went to pick up the daughter of his boss from school, took her to an uncompleted building, raped her and abandoned her in the building. She was mentally battered and physically damaged for the rest of her life, as her hips were dislocated and she now walks with a limp, remembering this evil act for the rest of her life. It is also very important to pick up the girls from school promptly, the boys and girls, not just the girls, at the close of school hours. Some parents are used to leaving their children in school for 2 to 3 hours after school, close of school, at the mercy of the security guards, the male teachers, or even the headmaster.
It benefits to read. You grow higher when you read, and you gain wisdom when you read.
Readers who read to improve themselves, who read to educate themselves, and who read for success rule the world.
For you to grow and become a senator, you must learn how to read. Read to understand. Read as many books as you can.
Reading helps you develop yourself intellectually, academically, and otherwise.
The secret to being proficient in reading is to read every day and to read outside of your curriculum, to read novels and to read books of interest.
A well-read child is a cultured child, a successful citizen, and the future of our great country. And that's why all parents need to encourage their children to read.
Read today, lead tomorrow.
Mom, why do you think people keep secrets to themselves when they are being threatened or harassed?
Because they've refused, or the parents are not very close to them. Sometimes the parents are close to them, in fairness to parents. But for whatever reason, the child just, keeps away, things away from their parents. The child should always make sure that your parents are your closest allies. Your parents must be your closest friends. Do not ever keep anything away from them. Even if you are threatened, sometimes the children are scared because they are threatened with death or something bad. But trust me, they are doing that because they want to scare you, to stop you from telling your parents. If anyone threatens you with death or anything, please tell your parents immediately. It means that the person is doing something bad and the person is scared of being uncovered. So always report to your parents, no matter the threat. Don't ever keep anything from your parents. And to parents, I would like to advise parents that you must be your children's best friends. You must teach your children, what to say at all times, what to do at all times, and how to do it. For example, teach your girls especially how to sit down properly. Do not allow the driver to go and pick your children alone from school. There must be adult supervision at all times. Teach them to speak up at all times, never to be intimidated by anyone. They must report anything that is not right. Teach them the various parts of their bodies that are private and should never be touched by anyone, not even their brothers. So you must pay close attention to your children. Their attitudes, you must watch them, you must study them, you must know if something is wrong. You must speak to them at all times. Protect your children, boys and girls, not just the girls. Boys are equally abused. So make sure you protect your children at all times. Thank you.
A very big thank you to our guests, Dame Julie Oka Donnelly, for having given us some of her time to be on the program. And thank you to Favor,
Yes, ma'am.
Jessica,
Thank you, ma'am.
Ifeanyi Chukwu, Marisa, and to you at home. Thanks for having been part of today's edition of Readers for Growth. I am Busola Faiga Okpelu. Read today,
Lead tomorrow.
Bye for now.